Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's live stream on American Soccer Quick Kicks. I'm your host, David Wright. Didn't really promote this one too much, didn't tease a subject matter. I'm kind of playing this one loose, didn't have a real clear idea of what I wanted to talk about. We're kind of between international windows and just kind of waiting for things to move in the Major League Soccer season. But I got a couple things to go over with you. We have U.S. Open Cup semifinals are happening right now. This is a competition I've told you about before. I love it. It's well over 100 years old. It's got a lot of. Um, hold on. I got a text message come in. I'm always nervous at the beginning of the stream that maybe you're not hearing me. Smoke signal. I'm depending on you to tell me if my mic's not working or something like that. But it's a U.S. Open Cup. It's a competition that we track throughout the year. It started back in March, and it plays concurrently within the Major League Soccer season, and it's open to all levels of play. We've gotten down to the semifinals, and Nashville is playing host to Philadelphia right now as we speak. It's probably in halftime right now. Nashville took the lead in the first half, so I'm rooting for them, obviously. Tomorrow night, the other semifinal will be played. It's going to be between Austin and Minnesota. What is at stake is, well, the prize money, the trophy to put in the case, but also a spot in next year's CONCACAF Champions Cup. I'm going to go ahead and try to share another screen. Now, y'all let me know if that's not working. All right, looks like we're good. All right, so this is the field for next year's Champions Cup. Okay, there's so far, these are the teams that have qualified. We have, looks like 6 out of Liga MX that are already in, and we have 3 so far from Major League Soccer. These spots are right here are from Leagues Cup. Okay, so Seattle won, Miami is a runner-up, and LA came in third place. So they have booked their spots in CONCACAF. And the Open Cup semifinals right now, and what's at stake is another one of these spots. So the winner of the U.S. Open Cup is also going to book their passage to CONCACAF. So we're excited about that. I want to flip to another one. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's go here. We'll talk about this. Just kind of give a wrap up on where we are with Major League Soccer. We're on the home stretch of the regular season, as you can see. Let me see if I can track you. I don't know where your cursor is, but anyway, as you can see under GPS games played, most are at 29, 30 matches under their belts. There's only 34 in the regular season. We're down to the very home stretch. And let me explain to you a little bit of the playoff format. You see dotted lines here between 4 and 5, again, between 7 and 8, and a solid line at 9. The number 8 and 9 after the regular season will play each other in a play-in match in order to see who gets the final regular spot. They'll play the top seed. Okay, so these top 4 get home matches, and the next 4 are going to be their opponents that are playing on the road. And so, but 9 actually qualify for the postseason. You've got 8 and 9 playing for that extra spot. So as you can see tonight, Nashville is playing host to Philadelphia in the Open Cup semifinal, and both of them are having great regular seasons. Both are in the top 4. That's all you need, unless you're going for the Shield. Top, being fourth is you want to be one of these top 4 spots because it means you're playing at home. And in Major League Soccer, home field advantage is significant. It's weighted more toward the home team than it is in other major sports leagues in America, for whatever reasons that we can theorize. But as you can see, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Charlotte is the surprise team. As I run down these standings, I don't want to get into the weeds of final scores of week-to-week results. I don't think anybody wants me to do that. If you're interested enough in the league, there's better sources than me. But I want to highlight some of the great stories going on this year, and Charlotte is definitely one of them. No one expected them to have the season they're having. They have now won 9 matches in a row. That is incredible. It actually ties a Major League Soccer record. And their most recent win was at home over Miami. I think it was 3-0. It was a solid drubbing. And so Charlotte is actually in the best form of anybody in the league. They've won 9 in a row, and they're playing like they should be considered the MLS Cup favorites because no one seems to be able to stop them. I love seeing that. And Miami is playing tonight. You can see over here on the games played, they've only played 27 matches. That means they have games in hand. They've got extra games to play, and they have an opportunity, if they can collect points there, to shoot up into the top four. They're playing tonight. They're playing right now against Seattle, and they're winning. So I guess that means if the result holds and Miami wins tonight, they're going to move past Nashville into that fourth spot. So it's all going to come down the wire. We have generally speaking about 4 matches left, about a month left in the season. And we're going to see how that shakes out. Running down the line here of what the other stories are. Miami not being near the top is a story, but again, they have games in hand. And Chicago, that's good for them to see them in the playoff hunt. That this is the first season for Greg Berhalter as the manager, and he's been able to do enough to improve them in his very first year to get them in that playoff picture. Now, let me scroll over here. We'll go to the Western Conference. So you can see how this shakes out. San Diego, Minnesota, Vancouver, Seattle in those coveted top 4 spots. San Diego, an expansion club, their first year of existence, and I'm pretty sure they're leading the whole league. Let me check again where Philadelphia is. Now, Philadelphia currently has a 1-point lead for the Shield, but obviously San Diego is a contender for the Supporter Shield. That's fantastic for them. Vancouver having their best season in years, and they were at the top of the table for a long time. And Seattle coming on strong. Feel great for all these guys. LA, Portland are, teams you expect to be contending. They've historically been very good, very strong in the league. They're hovering just out of that top 4 spot, but they're going to be tough to deal with as always. Nice, pleasant surprise to see Austin this high up in the charts, in the standings. They haven't always had such a good season, so I'm happy for them. Number 9, San Jose, same story as Chicago. First year managing the team for former U.S. national team manager Bruce Arena, and they have typically have been one of the worst teams in the league the last few years, and he's already improved them in his first year, good enough to be in that number 9 spot. So that's pretty awesome. The other U.S. Open the other U.S. Open semifinal, U.S. Open Cup semifinal, I'll get it out, tomorrow night is between Minnesota and Austin. So both are in the playoffs. Minnesota having a better year. They're number 2 in the table. It's going to be interesting to see how hard they go for it. I did not pay attention to if they rotated their squad over the weekend in order to be ready for the Open Cup match or not. But despite the fact that they're in a strong position here for the postseason, at this stage in the tournament, it makes sense to go for it, to go hard for it, because you're not very far away at this point from booking your ticket to CONCACAF. So and for Austin, Austin's kind of playing with house money. They're obviously at number 7, and they're happy to be there. They probably feel like, it's conventional wisdom will tell you they're less of a contender for the cup than Minnesota is. So the Open Cup probably means more to Austin. They probably feel like they've got more at stake. This is probably their best chance to make it to CONCACAF. So Austin's going to be highly motivated. I trust Minnesota will be. That should be a good match. A lot of times the Open Cup semifinalists are not necessarily teams that are also doing well in the regular season standings, but in this case, all 4 of them are. So I'm kind of excited about that. The only thing I wanted to touch on, let me end this. Let me recombobulate and get out of this share screen. Eventually I'll get there. There we go. The playoff schedule. So just before the regular season ends, there's going to be the October window in early October, in which case national teams all over the world will play. U.S. is going to be playing matches against Uruguay and Paraguay, and obviously we're going to be digging deep into all of that. As soon as it happens, it'll be just around the corner. Then we're going to come back for the end of the regular season, which will end on October 18th. And then we're going to have the play-in matches, and very quickly that those first round matches, which is actually I believe it can be up to 3 matches for that. So in a series. So you're going to get the first rounds, the early rounds played before the November window. And this is one thing that nobody likes about the MLS schedule, is that the playoffs are going to be interrupted by the international window in November, which we're going to be happy with it covering the U.S. team, but it absolutely kills the momentum of the postseason for Major League Soccer every single year. It's extremely unfortunate. And there was a couple of years just before the pandemic, maybe during the pandemic, where they had the playoff format exactly right, where the season ended before the October window and all of the postseason was played before the November window. It was just straight single elimination. They went through it super fast, and there were great matches. It was very intense, and there were no interruptions for international matches. And between the way the calendar had to be adjusted in light of expansion and other things, and the expanded playoff format where we have more teams involved and more games being played. So, and that coincided with the Apple TV deal. And when all that happened, the dates got pushed around, and now we're back to having the international breaks interrupt that home stretch in the last couple of weeks of the season, and also interrupting us again smack in the middle of the playoffs. So that's unfortunate, but that is what's up ahead. The playoffs are a lot of fun, especially when we get out of that early group stage and we get into elimination matches. It's my favorite part of the year because the teams are playing so hard. There's nothing like elimination soccer. There's going to be a change next year. FIFA's already announced it. Starting in 2026, the September and the October windows are going to be merged. It's going to be one long window. It's going to be played late September, early October, and it's going to be a 3-week camp. So I think that's an excellent idea. It's going to allow a longer camp, more time together for the national teams. And they're going to be allowed to play. There's room there to play up to 4 matches. So it could be an opportunity to see more players, or also kind of like the battle rhythm of a tournament, and kind of giving the manager, reps on how to manage minutes, how to manage personnel with a cluster of games in a short period of time. So I think that's going to be great. It also becomes less of a disruption, especially for European leagues, because you kind of combine all those in one, and you're not turning right around and interrupting again. So I think most people are going to be in favor of it. It's very early in a lot of the European League and the EPL season. And it really does. And so that might be a little aggravating for them, but I still think it's a benefit to combine those and get them over with from a domestic league, from a professional league perspective. I don't think it really impacts Major League Soccer very much, where it's still going to happen in the home stretch of the regular season. And we're still going to have that November window that's still going to interrupt our playoffs. So it does. So the impact of merging that window is kind of minimal for MLS, and I think it will be beneficial for the U.S. team. I wish it was happening now, this year, prior to the World Cup. But anyway, that's what they've done. They've just come down with that decision. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Unless you may got questions, I don't have a whole lot to talk about today. I've got Nashville and Philadelphia playing in the semifinal right now. I want to get to it and watch it. Next week we can talk about what the semifinals, what the results were. The final will be played on October 1st. But I will say this one, I'm going to give you something to think about, or I'm going to leave you with some homework. And this is going to be a topic that we will cover soon, some point this year. They're floating the idea, very serious talks, about moving the Major League Soccer calendar and not playing a spring to fall season like we've done for 30 years, but to move to a fall to spring schedule to be aligned with most of the rest of the world. There are pros and cons to this. You got to think about winter temperatures and some of the climates that our northern teams can be playing in. And you got to think about how this looks with the rest of the American sports calendar in relation to baseball, college football, hockey, basketball. Think about all that. There's implications for competition, for the sports fans' attention, complications for weather. There are benefits with aligning with the transfer windows, the global transfer windows. I think I know where I stand. I've been slow to come to a decision, but I think I have now. I'm going to hold that close to my vest. Give y'all time to think about it and see what you think. Form your own opinion. We can have a conversation. I'll lay out for you soon what I think what I think we should do. But it won't be this year. It won't be 2027. But it is something that is being looked at and discussed at a high level in the league. Yes, stadium availability versus American football. That is true, Larry, to some extent. There are a handful of teams that play in NFL stadiums, but only a handful. It is definitely a minority. Most of the teams in the league have soccer-specific stadiums. Atlanta, Charlotte, Chicago, Seattle, New England. I think those are the football stadiums. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up right there. I'm going to watch Nashville cheer them on in the second half. I've got the final score pinned on my phone while I'm talking, or I thought I did. Looks like it's gone away on me. But last I saw, it was 1-0. I'm going to get back to it. Guys, that's it. U.S. semifinal tonight and tomorrow night. Watch some soccer with me. I'll talk to you next time.